Good afternoon, morning or evening, depending on where you're joining us from today. My name is Jeremiah Lopez, and I'm the Chief Operating Officer here at Everdome. We're excited for you to join us today for our first of its kind Metaverse rocket launch, where Everdome Phoenix rockets will embark on their maiden voyage to the Everdome Cycler en route to Mars in less than 15 minutes. Tirelessly working around the clock for 8 months, our team has continued to deliver experience upon experience for our users, our partners, our community. While there's still much to deliver and even more to ideate, we're very excited to take a step back right now and to enjoy this monumental experience live with all of you. Joining me today in the studio as co-hosts and two of the visionaries and executors of the Everdome Metaverse experience and mission are Łukasz Alvast and Leszek Orzechowski. Łukasz is Everdome's Director of World Building and the Chief Ideator for much of what you will see today and the continuous development of Everdome Metaverse story. Leszek is Everdome's Chief Architect, ultimately responsible for the realistic aspect of Everdome's vision and the science behind our mission. As you can imagine, these two titans in their mighty roles are the checks and balances of what the future holds and what is possible. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me today in the studio.
Cheers, thank you very much.
Great to be here.
I'm excited. All right, let's jump into it. How about we lay some groundwork and we let everyone know what's going to happen today and what the experience is going to be like.
Great, thank you, Jeremy, for that introduction. So today we're crossing a significant project milestone, releasing the long-awaited Chapter 2 of the Everdome Metaverse world and its VR experience. This is our symbolic goodbye to Earth as we're venturing to Mars, and in some way, our end destination, end product, and the ecosystem that Everdome is creating over there on Mars. We'll spend about half an hour together, on one hand, watching together the launch of the rockets with some exclusive footage, some previews and snippets from inside of the VR experience as well. And we will also release the experience just after this launch to the top tier NFT holders, which will be available on the website metaverse.everdome.io. We will start now with a few words of introduction from Leszek, our head of science, about the design of the rockets, the mission architecture, some of the things that we've been already speaking through the last months, but they come together in this final event, which we're very excited about. And then we'll follow and accompany the EVR rockets all the way to the Cycler, where we introduce the Cycler and where our transmission will come to an end. So giving the voice to you now, Leszek, good luck.
Thank you, Łukasz. So currently, we are watching Hatta Spaceport, locating in United Arab Emirates. And this is one of 10 Everdome spaceports around the world that are currently in launch preparation phase. And Hatta Spaceport is a perfect place to start an interplanetary journey because you can see not only those launch pads with shuttle Phoenixes sitting on top of them, but also there is a departure hall and the whole rocket assembly hall hidden inside a mountain just behind launch pads. And this is really a sight to behold for anyone that will experience it in a very near future. And today we will witness a very unusual rocket launch. 400 passengers, cargo, and 4 rockets going up at the same time. In the near future of Everdome, we are still using chemical rockets, but the safety and reliability of those boosters allows us to make this launch, multiple rocket launches at the same time. And those 4 rockets are 2-stage vehicles. So there's a first stage booster that is massive and it's dwarfing even contemporary heavy launch vehicles like SLS or Starship. And on the top, we can see our shuttles. So Phoenixes can hold 100 passengers and cargo. And this is your ride to low Earth orbit when you will meet your interplanetary starship called Everdome Cycler. And in just few seconds, we will see how this whole journey to Mars will look like. So now you'll see what our Evernauts will experience in just 9 minutes when those rockets will start their journey to low Earth orbit. Let's watch.
Welcome to the Everdome mission architecture, our interplanetary journey across the metaverse to Mars. We leave Earth on board of massive passenger spaceships, Everdome Phoenix. Each ship carries over 400 passengers, which makes it over twice the size of the SpaceX Starship. The journey starts in a near-future spaceport in Hatta, United Arab Emirates, one of a dozen interplanetary spaceports. Flying past the Kármán line, the border of space, and into lower Earth orbit will take between 7 and 8 minutes. Each spaceship will then join and dock the Everdome Cycler, an enormous interplanetary spacecraft orbiting 700 kilometers above Earth. The docking procedure will take several hours, as the spaceships will have to chase the Cycler on Earth's orbit. We carefully schedule all journeys to Mars to make sure we fly the shortest distance. Earth and Mars need to align correctly, where a journey that needs only around 120 days might take nearly 2 years. The Everdome Cycler is formed of 7 key sections. 2 are propulsion systems, a 2-kilometer wide solar sail and a thermonuclear engine at the rear end. The other ones are the command deck, passenger residences, docking and travel facilities, and cargo storage. Each ship heads towards Isidis Planitia, ejecting massive parachutes and landing horizontally, like a space shuttle on an 8-kilometer runway at the center of Jezero crater. Once disembarked, passengers depart by monorail towards the Nertava Valley. Passing under the monumental Everdome gates, they will get their first glimpse of Everdome's low-gravity architecture and their first hint of Everdome's enormous possibilities. Welcome to Everdome City.
Perfect. So what we've just seen is a story explainer of the arc that we've used for 2022 and the rollout of the first episode and chapters of the experience, so the Hatta Spaceport and the rocket launch today. But obviously we're preparing much more for next year, and we're excited to show that as the year develops. But we have about 5 to 6 minutes left before the rockets take off. So I'd like to ask a question to Jeremy. If you could tell us and the community, why do you think this event is so important to the community, to the development team, and the broader project stakeholders?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think I'll kick it off with the development team. I think it's quite obvious with what we're looking at and what we're kind of displaying here today and what people are going to be able to experience as soon as this transmission is over. This sums up 8 months of, like I said before, around the clock work for the development team, for the platform, for game development. On the business side, a lot of partnership and relationship building. And it gives us a chance to really showcase what we feel and how we see the metaverse can and should look like going forward. From a team perspective, I know working with everyone for this entire time, it's a sense of accomplishment in the way that everyone puts themselves into this project. We really feel that the output and the delivery that is going to be seen by our users, by our partners, is a direct reflection of the team themselves and the fundamentals of Everdome as a business, as a core business ourselves. Lastly, and this is one that we all get really excited about, and you're all joining us here today. But the community, I feel from the community perspective, this is an opportunity for you to own a piece of the future, to be a part of something that is, everybody says it's bigger, but to be a part of something that's fresh, something that's honest. Even in its early days, we can already see the strides that we're starting to take. And I think it's important for everyone involved that we share in this together and we see the progress as we're truly building something unique, very unique.
Yeah, I think that we all feel that we're in new territory, shaping what the feeling and the products and platforms of the metaverse could be. And we're trying to achieve that high quality level of exploration in all of those fields, in the story, in the technical reliability, but also what's super important, I think, is in the partnerships. So bringing and onboarding partners so they co-create that world and that experience with us.
Absolutely.
Okay, Leszek, I'm getting excited because there's 3 minutes left. So why don't you describe what is actually happening on the rocket pads?
So now we are seeing that the rocket pylons are rotating away from our shuttles. That means that the passengers have already boarded the shuttle Phoenix, and we already saw a small glimpse of the interior of their capsules. And soon enough, we'll be hearing the last system checks. We will hear probably that the propellant has been loaded, because I don't anticipate any delays because the weather in Hatta right now is impeccable. But there is something that we should mention before the clock runs to zero. You can anticipate that the first rocket will launch T-1, just because the first rocket launch will carry cargo to the Everdome Cycler. And the next 3 launches will have our passengers. Soon we will start hearing radio chatter from our mission control and our spaceships, and probably you'll be able to recognize that some of the people involved, yes, we hear the chatter, are not entirely human.
We're ready to enable flight mode.
Interesting anecdote is that every single spaceship has its own AI, and you'll be able to recognize it just how it's introducing itself.
Countdown recycle in 2, 1. Countdown continues. All systems nominal.
I think we might leave the experience now to itself for a while. We are obviously seeing that from a director's cut perspective, but the people who are in the VR experience, they will be inside of the cabin and experiencing that first view, and we will see snippets of that in a moment.
Terminating final replenish.
Clear air, please. Cryogenic stage to internal battery power.
ICPS to internal, check.
So we can hear that.
Core stage to internal power.
So far so good, everything is getting ready. Here comes aforementioned the first launch of the cargo Phoenix. And you can really feel the sheer power of those boosters. Those are really, really massive rockets that are capable of bringing a lot of cargo to low Earth orbit.
Tanks pressurized for strong back release. We are ready for your pull.
So now we're observing the experience from the perspective of the Metaverse user.
GNC.
And we only have 30 seconds until launch.
Go.
Let's enjoy.
Telmu. Go. And it's a go from Capcom. We elect to launch. Machine Phoenix, you have the button.
All tanks at flight pressure. Final abort. Hydrogen burn-off igniters initiated. Launch in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And we have a liftoff.
EVR 1 on its maiden flight.
It's cleared its tower. And soon other 2 rockets will follow. And this is not often we see those kind of scenes, even in science fiction, 4 rockets launching at the same time. And this is a normal means of transportation for people living in Everdome universe.
Phoenix to mission in Hatta. Permission to proceed.
It's quite monumental when they take off.
It is, and I think it also adds, outside of the scientific aspect in the gameplay, it's also very symbolic of Everdome as a business as well. So I think that adds to a lot of excitement to what we're doing here today.
So now we see that the towers are cleared. So and this is like soon we will get the feed from the mission control. We'll see how our spaceships are doing. But now we can see also this great assembly hall that is inside the mountain, and our users will be able to see how those rockets are stacked and produced.
And that's Leszek exclusive content for the VR
That's
experience. It was actually one of the pieces of the experience that people, when they saw it in our Abu Dhabi demonstrated, they thought that was the best intro to what the VR experience can give. So that was very exciting.
And
Perfect.
here we can see the screen with our 4 spaceships that are slowly climbing the orbit. Soon they will reach the Kármán line, so the border of space. And for us, it's an important information to know that they are well on their way to meet with Everdome Cycler, but people inside are probably having the ride of their lives, and they can see some wonderful views outside.
Yeah, we're really excited to hear first impressions. So just after this will be released after our transmissions. Go in, record, tell us if you like it. That's what we want to hear from our community. We're here to improve, but we pay a special dedication and aspect to the immersion of it. And we thought that the rocket launch experience should be symbolic in that form of immersion.
And our rockets just passed Kármán line. That means that they are already in space. And I guess some of our users will experience an overview effect. So they will look at our home planet and see how beautiful it is and how unique it is, and how and this is a unifying experience for people. They feel a part of something greater, but at the same time, soon in their windows, they will also have opportunity to catch a glimpse of their interplanetary starship. So Everdome Cycler, something that we were designing for quite a long time, and will be able to host all 40 spaceships, because not only those 4 spaceships are coming to dock with the Cycler, but also all others Phoenixes that launch from other sites from all around the world. Soon they will see the massive engines, the golden circle sail, and I guess it will happen in just a few minutes.
Amazing. And Leszek, thanks for that overview. Lukasz, you had said something a bit earlier that I wanted to maybe circle back to on. I know I've heard a lot from members of the community, from other people that we've showed this to. Obviously, we've done a lot of video creation in the past that we've used for marketing events and stuff. All of that is obviously created off of Unreal Engine 5 creation that we've done inside the metaverse. So can you kind of explain the difference between viewing it on a video format versus actually being in the metaverse and experiencing it with either a VR headset or just on desktop, like what the experience is like?
Of course. So the way how we design Everdome is designed for 2 types of platforms for today's technology. So one is the bleeding edge desktop experience. So showing the best what the graphic and gaming engines are able to do today, and what ultimately we believe probably 80 to 90% of users have as their home hardware. So the video renders are renders from the versions that are desktop versions. And then we're also developing for the max capacity of what VR headsets can do today. As we know, VR experiences have to be somehow optimized. That's what the technology gives us today, but we are really pushing those boundaries. And I think what was really great when we showcased the experience in Abu Dhabi is that people who've seen and used VR headsets a few years ago, maybe 2, 3, still have that preconception
Mission to
that they
Phoenix.
don't feel
We have a
particularly
green
well,
and
that
a
the
welcome from
experience
the
is not
Everdome
really
Cycler.
detailed, immersive.
Phoenix,
And we've seen
let
people
her
who
light.
haven't been taking off the headsets for 20
Separation
minutes to
complete.
half an
And
hour
second stage
because the
ignition
world
in
was so
5,
convincing.
4,
And the way how we're
3,
developing
2,
Everdome combines
1.
those two things. So we need to
Ignition.
think about a gameplay which allows a lasting experience, some form of ambience, of multiplayer social places and social experiences, but also we want to have snippets of those story in that world that are more individual, more immersive, because that's also a tool to sell in a good way what the metaverse could become today and in the future.
Gentlemen, we are approaching the cycler. So here we can already see what our users will experience just after this stream. And it's maybe nice to mention that really shows that our work that we did for the past 8 months was really grounded in current scientific engineering and in the current state of art when it comes to the future in human spaceflight, because we've launched on chemical rockets, so we are not using any kind of magical technology like anti-gravity or something. We are trying to be connected with current state of the art when it comes to spaceflight. But even if you look at this enormous cycler that will take you to Mars, it may look sci-fi, but everything there is based in currently developed technologies. So both propulsion systems, so nuclear thermal engines or solar sails, those are already existing technologies. And when you see those giant rotating rings that will, help you survive the trip to Mars in more luxury way, I guess. And it's also something that is envision how our future of spaceflight will look like.
I think one of our important principles is that this world is ultimately not about existential threat or survival. So if we were really scientifically correct, that would probably be the feeling that we would have, because space is hard. Going to another planet is even harder. So we're balancing that part of what makes a metaverse world entertaining and fun and informative, educational, also with aspects of interpreting the future in a futuristic way. Something that we particularly want to invite our community and partners to participate in. But the user experience of how we feel in that world, how convincing it is what makes the connection, both for people that associate with the project, as well as those that will want to log in and decide whether they want to spend time in Everdome, and if that is time of value ultimately, because we want to make sure that it makes sense to be in the metaverse and to create value, transactions, and interactions.
Absolutely. And I, personally, that's one of the exciting things when I sat down and I've spoken with Leszek, how he can bring that physical world science and interaction that he's done from the past and continues to do now, even with his own research facility. It's really nice to hear how he's tying these two worlds together. Leszek, maybe really quick, you could talk about maybe some of the applications. Like, how do you compare this to what you're working on in the physical world to what you're doing in the digital world?
So the most important part is that how we are envisioning the future of humanity in outer space. So either on Mars or in a starship like this one. we need to remember that technologies that are currently being developed to allow people to survive, to thrive in a very challenging environments of outer space, very soon will be, well, not only used to get to space, to stay in space, but also they will come back to our everyday lives and will help create us the future on Earth that will be, as Łukasz mentioned, a bit more optimistic. So here, space architecture in our vision is was used to help humanity, and we are here showing the results that the humanity is past its it's past the difficult times that 21st century had to offer, and here we are getting well, expanding our reach to other planets, and now we see that the other shuttles have docked to the Cycler. Soon we will also experience, we'll end this part of our journey, and we will get to the Cycler ourselves. And this cycle will take us to our next destination, planet Mars.
Yeah. So what's happening right now is that we are reloading to the Everdome Cycler, which we'll show you in a moment. And the release of the second experience, the product that will be available very soon on Everdome's website, is exactly what we've just seen from the snippets of the material, but just in a more immersive and direct way. The whole experience is probably about 15 to 20 minutes, depending how long you hang out around some of the ambient spaces. And we start in the Hatta Spaceport, we finish at the Cycler today, but in the coming months, we'll be releasing next destinations. And I think we've really enjoyed preparing the format of an event like today for the rocket launch. So I think we might consider to do a similar one once we arrive to Mars and make a Mars landing experience and a whole ritual out of it. That seems pretty fun.
And as I understand correctly, Łukasz, once we see the inside of the Cycler, oh yeah, now we are inside the Cycler. This part will be a multiplayer part of the experience for this demo. Isn't that right?
Correct.
Okay, those views are absolutely beautiful. So this is a viewing deck of the Cycler. This is what we have prepared for you today. And here you can see how our home planet looks like from the low Earth orbit. You can see the nuclear propulsion at the end and the solar sail at the front of the spacecraft. You can also see two other rings because we are in the middle ring of the Cycler. And this is how you will travel to Mars for the next few months. Really an amazing view.
Perfect. We just like to contemplate over it ourselves. We're taking our time, therefore. I think, Leszek, that's also true that we've researched that in science fiction, the motif of the Cycler is somehow present, but the motif of having that journey in VR is something totally unique. Like, we've done it for the first time.
Definitely. And we can safely say that the journey has begun. Congratulate, guys.
The journey has begun. Yeah. Well, what a beautiful experience. And hey, thank you all for joining us today. That's the end of our transmission. If you enjoyed what we put together today and the whole experience, please take to social media, tag us, let us know your feedback, your comments. We're really looking forward, as Łukasz said, to maybe doing this again in the future as we land on Mars and we continue on. I think it was stated a couple of times before as well, we're also going to be releasing the new build, so all Tier 1 and Tier 2 holders are going to be able to experience themselves from first person inside the rocket and the launch. On behalf of myself, Leszek, Lukasz, and the entire team at Everdome. We really appreciate your time, your dedication, your commitment, and your community to us. Thank you so much, and we look forward to building everything and moving forward with you all. See you
Thanks,
on
Jeremy.
Mars.
Cheers.